very surprised that you, for example, you mentioned, well, both of us, we share the same background in biology, in medicine, in science. The question is, how come that you share the same scientific background and you differ so much? My question is, are there two types of science, or he went to a school that it was not really a very good school, or you went to the wrong school, or what's going on here? Or there is a physics quantity, or you went to the wrong school, or what's going on here? Or there is a physics quantity for you and for... Please explain me, how could you share this background?
Would you like to go first, or you want me to go first?
3 minutos, por favor.
My attitude to science is that we are fundamentally trying to understand how things work. Science is very difficult. It's very difficult to understand how things work. The hard problem of consciousness has been mentioned, the problem of the origin of the universe, the problem of the origin of life, the problem of how life has this uncanny appearance of being designed, the size of the universe, the scale of the universe, how embryology works. These are all deeply difficult questions. They require hard scientific work, and in all cases, I think I'm right in saying that scientific work consists of explaining complicated things in terms of the interactions of their parts or of simpler things. So we always try to explain complex things in terms of simpler things. We do not resort to magical language. We do not snow our audience with highfalutin sounding words that don't actually mean anything. We use words that actually have meaning. We use expressions that can be tested. We work hard at understanding the universe in terms of its component parts. We don't invent superarching entities which have no explanation in themselves. We don't invoke ideas like the universe has consciousness, the universe has awareness, atoms have awareness. If we have a difficult problem like awareness, we explain it in terms of the interactions between small parts working together in ways that scientists understand. If Freeman Dyson ever said atoms are aware, then he's wrong. I don't think he said it. I think he should sue you.
3 minutes.
Ad hominem is a logical fallacy, science 101. I'm not going to resort to the tactics that you use, sir. Friedman Dyson said it, and so did Schrödinger say that consciousness is in the universe. Max Planck said that mind is the matrix of matter. I could go on and on about the pioneers of the early physics, the quantum physics, who were compelled to include consciousness as a fundamental aspect of reality. Consciousness is the white elephant in the room. You require consciousness to come up with a theory. You require consciousness to design an experiment. You require consciousness to make an observation. Science is the offspring of consciousness. It is the product of consciousness. So that's the first thing I want to say. The second thing I want to say here is very clearly that there's no argument about the fact that evolutionary biology explains everything about the species going from one species to another. But if you want to understand science in its totality, you have to bring consciousness into the equation, because as we currently practice science, it's based on what we call a subject-object split. There's an observer involved in every observation. Science doesn't ask who the observer is, who's the observing self, where is the observing self. But in the absence of the observing self, there wouldn't be any observation and there wouldn't be any science. The observing self cannot be glimpsed by science and scientific methodology because it happens to be the observer. The observer cannot be observed. And that's where spirituality comes in. If you define spirituality as self-awareness, only consciousness can know consciousness. Only consciousness can explain consciousness. Only consciousness can understand consciousness. Any scientific understanding of consciousness through looking at the brain is at best inferential. You're looking at correlations of experiences in consciousness through objective means. So I think science is incomplete as a way of understanding fundamental reality. It's based on a fragmented view of reality. Subject-object split. Nature is one. The universe includes observers, modes of observation, and objects that are observed. So science, because it's fragmented, like religion, which has been fragmented, is capable of creating diabolical technologies. Everything that is wrong today in the world, today in the world, from global warming to biological warfare to mechanized death to eco-destruction to the extinction of species, is because science has evolved without the evolution of spirituality.
Thank you.
Science, spirituality,
Okay,
science
now,
complete.
okay, well, I will have a few questions from, please.
So science, because it's fragmented, like religion, which has been fragmented, is capable of creating diabolical technologies. Everything that is wrong today in the world, today in the world, from global warming to biological warfare to mechanized death to eco-destruction to the extinction of species, is because science has evolved without the evolution of spirituality.
Thank you.
Science, spirituality,
Okay,
science
now,
complete.
okay, well.